We all have friendships we regret, but I'm pretty sure Ashton Kutcher is regretting ever being friends with Puff Daddy. So his current relationship with his old pal is, oh, how do I say it? Uncomfortable. But the That 70s Show star should have known to walk away a long time ago. After all, Puff Daddy himself warned Ashton that things could go sideways. That threat, if you will, goes back to the days of Punk'd, the MTV prank show that Ashton hosted from 2003 to 2007. The show was originally going to just pull jokes on everyday folks until there was an early prank involving a fake body, always hilarious, that resulted in a $10 million lawsuit against Ashton Kutcher, MTV, and a Vegas hotel. So then the show was quickly retooled to punk celebrities like Freaky Muniz. Pretty sure Taylor Swift was on at one point. Now, as Ashton Kutcher and friends brainstormed new celebs to prank, somebody came up with Puff Daddy. Now, luckily for Ashton, word got to Puffy before any practical jokes were deployed, and on a 2018 episode of The Late Late Show with James Corden, the duo reminisced about the beginning of their friendship. So Puffy said, "I gave Ashton a call one day and said, I heard you're gonna punk me, and I just don't think that's a good idea. If you do that, that will not end well for you, but I think we should work out a deal." Well, hindsight's 2020, folks. Working out a deal with Puff Daddy didn't do so well for Ashton. Sources say that he's so exasperated that once again he's being dragged through the mud because of his past associations. What has been going on? Let's see. Danny Masterson, now we got Puff Daddy, and other stories we'll get to in a moment. And it's got Ashton convinced that, like, maybe I should get out of Hollywood. In his view, it's the town's fault. It's just a cesspool. So if you don't know the name Danny Masterson, for those who are unversed, Ashton Kutcher and wife Mila Kunis wrote letters to a judge in support of Danny Masterson after he was convicted of SA, claiming he had been a good person. Now the letters went public, the couple faced massive backlash from fans online, and they did eventually apologize via Instagram. Ashton stepped down from his role as chair of his foundation that fights against those kinds of crimes. He's come under fire following the arrest of Puff Daddy on charges of racketeering, conspiracy, and a lot of other bad things. And there's been a lot of old clips of interviews of the two buddies, being bros, and folks questioning why. Now, Ashton mentioned that the duo became fast friends. He was like, oh yeah, we'd hang out, we'd watch football together. When asked about the depravity, and specifically the ickiness that went on at the infamous parties, he's like, I got a lot I can't tell. Nope, can't say that either. Sir, it might be time to start spilling the beans. And yes, well, Puff Daddy has denied all allegations against him. He is currently behind bars at the Federal Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, waiting his trial that's not set to begin till May. Also, there might be another criminal case that Ashton might want to run away from because he's thinking about moving. So if we're going back to the year 2001, it was a February night, Ashton thought he'd been jilted after his date didn't answer the door. The original plan for the night was for him to pick her up at 8, but he was invited to watch the Grammys at a friend's house. So apparently he, called the girl around 7:30 to be like, hey, I'm gonna be later than 8. Called again to keep her posted on his whereabouts. He left a voicemail. She called back from her roommate's phone saying the house phone wasn't working. I think it was like 8:24 at that point. She's like, yeah, I'm just getting out of the shower. I'm gonna go dry her hair. So Ashton was like, okay, cool. No big deal if I'm late. And also, like, sidebar, one of the first detectives at the scene later did see a blow dryer on the toilet seat, so could be legit. So according to Ashton, shortly after 10 p.m., he was like, hey, I'm on my way. There was no answer. He decided to not go straight there. He's like, hey, I would like to touch base first. When he got there, her car was in the driveway, but he thought she might be mad at him because he was late and purposely not answering. So he's like, oh no, I just left. Well, there's a reason she wasn't answering. Her body was no longer, conscious. It was found by her roommate with 47 wounds the next day. But Ashton was like, oh no, I just thought I was stood up. And that is a direct quote from the Los Angeles County Deputy District Attorney. He's like, yeah, no, Ashton just showed up. So Ashton also thought he saw like red wine on the floor. And turns out, yeah, the evidence showed that that was actually Ashley's bodily you-know-whats. She'd already been away at that point. But the LAPD was like, look, Ashton wasn't a big deal at the time. He, was just a mutual friend. They were just like casually dating. It was just, a fling, if you will. He wasn't a long-term relationship. He had no ties to her. He had gone, so her name was Ashley. I think I've already mentioned that. They dated for like 2 weeks, couple of little things here and there. They went to a housewarming party. They made plans to get dinner and drinks. So allegedly, Ashley's life was ended by a man named Michael Gargiulio. He was sentenced to end of his life in 2021 for the loss of her life and that of his neighbor, Maria Bruno. Now, sadly, the only reason this case is coming back to life about 20 years later is because of all of the hullabaloo with Ashton and the controversies. Because here's the thing, folks think that Ashton might know more than he did because his fingerprints were everywhere all over the door. And actress Christina Ricci seemingly called him out on Instagram with a warning to awesome guys who have been proven to be awful privately. Comedian Kathy Griffin weighed in, saying, People who needed to stand up for people because they were their bros. And then there was one response that caught me off guard. That of Chrissy Carnell Bixler, former girlfriend of Danny Masterson, one of 3 women who accused him of harm, and she posted a cryptic message to her Instagram story, saying, "Dear Ashton, I know the secrets your role model keeps for you, ones that would end you. Did you forget I was there? You were on speakerphone that night you called Danny, February 21st, 2001. I hear everything. I heard the plan. In my opinion, you're just as sick as your mentor." So it's assumed that she was referencing the passing of Ashley Ellerin. Now, this statement was later clarified in an Instagram comment saying, Ashton was in his car for over an hour outside of Ashley's house, speaking with his manager about what to do to protect his career and reputation. So the internet has hit the ground running with theories that Ashton either lied about the passing of said girlfriend or might have been involved with the crime itself. Now, during the 2019 trial, Ashton did give his testimony to the court, saying, "I didn't know she had passed away till the next day. He just called the police before they could figure out his DNA was on the door handle. He was freaking out about that. And because he fully cooperated with the investigation, he was never treated as a suspect." His 40-minute long testimony included mentioning once again that, oh, that stain on the ground. I just peered through the window to see if I could see her. But he's like, oh no, that just wasn't alarming. Like, I went to her house days before. It was like a crazy party. It was a rager. He thought it was just a stain left over from that. Now, as for the man who allegedly took the poor girl's life, he had met her months earlier. He had offered to fix her tire, left a business card promoting his air conditioning repair services. In 2010, the county sheriff's office described him as a bragger, a BS artist. He would meet and befriend and associate with women, form a superficial relationship with them, and ultimately, that would be the end of their life. So he was every woman's nightmare. He told a number of people he was in the movies and was a high-end plumber for celebrities. Now, there was somebody who testified in the trial that said that he was living a block away from the poor girl at the time and would frequently show up at her house unannounced. Apparently, his vehicle had been parked outside at awkward hours of the day, seemingly in an attempt to surveil the poor girl. Now, this man was caught in 2008 when his DNA evidence was found following the attempted ending of life of Michelle Murphy, who did testify at the 2019 trial, by the way, saying initially in the days, weeks, and months after it happened, she barely slept. So after all of this, sounds like Ashton and Mila kind of want to flee the country to avoid all of these things following them. And like, hey, if you can get out, get out. Good luck, folks.
And now Diddy has finally been exposed for his crime ring and how he treated his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. But apparently all of this was just an open secret in Hollywood, which is honestly really messed up. Now, a lot of celebrities have been to Diddy's parties and engaged in who knows what while there. I mean, multiple celebs have spoken out against Diddy, saying that they don't go to Diddy parties and that you just have to tell the man no over and over, which is honestly just so sketchy. And it's just like, why didn't anyone put a stop to this sooner? Now, Kanye West knew all about this allegedly, and in a 2022 interview, he claimed that Diddy was actually working with law enforcement as an informant, and that's why he was able to get away with what he did. Is this credible? No, not really, not at all, but it is something to think about. Not to mention, Diddy is friends with some very powerful people like Jay-Z and Beyonce, Oprah Winfrey, and the Kardashians. In 2023, Diddy's ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura filed a lawsuit against Diddy that was promptly settled the next day. Then on February 26, 2024, music producer Rodney Jones filed a lawsuit against him as well. On March 25th of this year, Homeland Security investigations served search warrants in the early morning raids on Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami. Diddy was then arrested last week after being accused of criminal activity going back to at least 2008. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges and wanted to be released on bail, but a judge denied his request. We'll now just have to wait and see what happens, but it appears everyone who was a part of this or helped cover it up will be exposed. Oscar-winning director Roman Polanski was expelled from the Academy in 2018, as the expulsion came more than 40 years after a horrendous legal incident. In 1977, he was convicted of a serious crime, but he fled the United States before being jailed. Now, since he fled the country before sentencing, legally he still has to answer for all charges. But due to this, he can never come back to the United States, because if he ever does, he will be arrested. Now, one of the big problems is that numerous big shots in the movie industry have already written countless petitions asking to pardon Roman, which is honestly disgusting. Now, more than 100 people in the film industry, including Woody Allen, Martin Scorsese, David Lynch, Wes Anderson, Harrison Ford, among many others, signed a petition in 2009, calling for his release. Now, on October 30th, 2015, a Polish judge denied a request by the United States to extradite Roman, so it appears he'll never face the justice his victims deserve. Now, Woody Allen and Mia Farrow began dating in 1980 and were together for 12 years until their split. Now, during that time, the couple adopted 2 children, Dylan and Moses Farrow, and had 1 biological child, Ronan Farrow. Now, Mia and Woody split in 1992, shortly before Woodley publicly revealed that he was dating Suni Previn, Mia's 21-year-old daughter she had adopted with her ex-husband, Andre Previn. Woody began dating his technical stepdaughter. Now, Mia reportedly learned of this relationship early in 1992 when she discovered some photographs of Suni in Woody's apartment. Now, the two started dating when she was 21 years old, and they married 6 years later when Suni was 27 and Woody was 62. Now, when asked about his affair, Woody responded by saying, "The heart wants what it wants, there's no logic to those things. You meet someone and you fall in love, and that's that." Ronan Farrow said it best when describing his family dynamic: "He's my father married to my sister, that makes me his son and his brother-in-law." Now, this is all just so crazy because it seems like no one really cares about this, which is just insane. The situation is just so icky, not to mention Woody has been accused of committing some other crimes too, but people still continue to be in his movies and support him. Alfred Hitchcock was an interesting man to say the least, but what people didn't really know was that there was a dark side to him. Now, his first of many recorded instances of actor mistreatment occurred on the set of his film The 39 Steps. He would announce lead actress Madeleine Carroll's presence on set by yelling, "Bring on the Birmingham tart," and would leave her handcuffed to her co-star for hours on end, claiming to have lost the key. Now, he took pleasure in agitating his actresses with crude sexual jokes, and even going as far as making up a story about sleeping with Ingrid Bergman and having actress Janet Leigh filmed in the shower for a 6-day shooting period for Psycho. But by far the worst was his treatment of lead Tippi Hedren while shooting The Birds. Now, Hitchcock became infatuated with her, and after she refused some of his advances, he had live birds attached to her instead of mechanical ones for the shooting of a scene, which ultimately required her to be hospitalized. Later, Hitchcock's demands led to a horrible fight, according to Tippi. She then told him Marnie would be their last film together, and later recalled how Hitchcock told her he would destroy her career. He said, "I'll ruin your career," and he did ruin my career. He kept me under contract and paid me to do nothing for close to 2 years. Now, Tippi said this essentially ruined her career as a leading lady, and it's such a shame. Now, everyone knows about Britney Spears' meltdowns in 2006 and 2007. Now, amidst her split from Kevin Federline, she shaved her head and was sworn by paparazzi at a gas station, and in retaliation, she smashed a photographer's car with an infamous green umbrella. Now, later, at the beginning of 2008, she was put on a 5150 hold in the hospital. A week after this, she was sent back to the hospital on a 5150 hold, and her father Jamie was granted temporary conservatorship over the star. Now, in July that year, he requested for it to be extended, which it was. 2 years before the temporary court-ordered conservatorship was supposed to see its end, a judge then ruled that Jamie would retain control over his daughter for an indefinite period. Speaking of this period of time in her memoir, Britney said, "Even though I begged the court to appoint literally anyone else, and I mean anyone off the street would have been better, my father was given the job. And the court told me I was demented, and I wasn't even allowed to pick my own lawyer." Soon after the conservatorship was in place, she said her father said, "I just want to let you know, I call the shots, you sit right there in the chair and I'll tell you what goes on," she recalled. "I looked at him with a growing sense of horror. I'm Britney Spears now," he said. Britney also spoke out about that 13-year conservatorship as she hit out on her dad Jamie in the explosive memoir, as she opened up about the unrelenting control her family had over her, which, looking back, makes her feel sick. Now, people in Hollywood knew about this but didn't do anything. Finally, in 2019, fans started to realize that something was wrong, and they created the Free Britney movement. With fans backing Britney up, she felt like she finally had a voice and requested the conservatorship to end. Now, she and her father appeared in court multiple times over the year, and on November 12, 2021, the conservatorship was officially over. Now, so many people knew what was going on and directly profited off the whole situation though, which which is just gross. And finally, a lot of people know that Judy Garland was treated poorly in the industry, but not that many people know the extent of it. She signed with MGM when she was just a teen, and she appeared on screen in the 1936's Pigskin Parade, a musical comedy about college football coaches. At that point, MGM execs were already bugging her about her weight. They told her she looked like a fat little pig with pigtails and placed her on a forced diet, something that would continue on in her career. The studio restricted her calories so heavily that she unfortunately fell into cycles of starving and binging. In 1938, an MGM exec told her that she was so fat she looked like a monster, and when she was 18, Louis Mayer himself allowed her to consume only black coffee and chicken soup, along with 80 cigarettes and diet pills every 4 hours to reduce her appetite. Now this kept the weight off, but anytime she stopped dieting, her weight would skyrocket. Studio managers would send memos on her daily eating, including notes like Garland gained 10 pounds, costumes refitted, and Judy sneaked out between takes 7 and 8 this afternoon and had a malted milk. Now, poor girl, as she was treated absolutely horrible by MGM. Kim Kardashian is feuding with one of her sisters again. She's been called out by Khloe with her shady Instagram posts, as the pair have been fighting on the new episode of The Kardashians. Now, in the most recent episode of The Kardashians, the sisters clashed over Khloe's parenting, with Kim suggesting that Khloe's 2 kids rule her life. Now, this came about after Khloe turned down a trip to Paris for Fashion Week because she wanted to be home with her kids. Now, last week's episode also documented their family vacation to Aspen, which took place in January. On the trip, Kim called out Khloe for FaceTiming her daughter during their group dinner. Now, Kim again was annoyed with this. Kim said in a confessional, "Here we go again. She just is so stuck on what's going on at home that she can't have a good time," before later describing Khloe constantly FaceTiming her kids as annoying. Several viewers of the reality show have since called Kim out for shaming Khloe, and fans have actually done the math and figured out that Khloe was seemingly shading Kim on Instagram around the very same time that they were quietly clashing. Now, back in January and February, around the same time as the Aspen trip, Khloe shared multiple quotes that are seemingly aimed at Kim. "20 years from now, the only people who'll remember if you worked late are your kids," one quote read. "Raise your children to be impressed by kindness, loyalty, and humility, not just wealth, possessions, and power," read another. Then in 2007, Kim and her then boyfriend, Ray J, tape was leaked online, and it's how Kim rose to fame. Now, Kim sued Vivid Entertainment for ownership of the tape. In late April 2007, Kim dropped the suit and settled for $5 million. Now, the blame was put on Ray J for releasing the video, but after all these years, Ray J maintains his innocence. He said, "I've sat in the shadows for over 14 years, allowing the Kardashians to use my name, to abuse my name, make billions of dollars over a decade and a half, talking about a topic I've never really spoken about. I've never leaked anything. I've never leaked a tape in my life." Now, he claims that Kim and Kris negotiated the release of the tape in the early 2000s. Now, Kris apparently watched 3 different Ray J and Kim and chose to leak the one that gave her daughter a better look. Now, if that's true, that is just gross. Now, Kris Jenner has denied playing a role in getting her daughter tape released, and even took a lie detector test on the James Corden show, but Ray J is still adamant that they did help. Now, looking back, Ray J said he is embarrassed of the tape. Now, Kim's whole relationship with Kris Humphries was something else. They dated for 6 months before they got married. Now, Kris wasn't really into all the fame, but Kim wanted it all. Now, their relationship made them a lot of money. The reality star was paid $1.5 million by people for their wedding photos alone. They also got $30,000 for their engagement announcement and another massive chunk of cash from both her bridal shower and her honeymoon pictures. Not to mention the bonus check they got from airing their wedding on Keeping Up. Now, afterwards though, after 72 days, Kim filed for divorce. Now, Kris felt bamboozled and cited fraud as the reason for wanting an annulment. Kim's paperwork stated irreconcilable differences, and she later discussed the marriage on her show and revealed her mother encouraged her to run on her wedding day if she needed to. Now, following their split, Kris's lawyer told the Los Angeles Fraud Court that Kim had no intention of proceeding with this marriage. It was basically a tactic for the benefit of her show and to make money. But Jonathan Jackson, who worked with the reality star between 2007 and 2009, said that the pair's union was a publicity stunt. Speaking on Good Day LA back in 2011, Jackson said 2 weeks prior to her wedding, she knew it was not something she wanted to do. Unfortunately, they were obligated to honor contracts with the E! Network, which had TV rights. Otherwise, they would have owed a lot of people a lot of money. Now, after their divorce and sketchy relationship, Kris exposed some of Kim's secrets. Back in 2013, Kris revealed that the proposal for the show was not a surprise and that Kim was aware of it, so the scene where she seemed moved and surprised in is super fake. In fact, Kris went further to say that they had to reshoot the proposal because Kim didn't like her reaction. Kim told Kris how, where, and when to propose. It was absolutely no surprise to her whatsoever, a source told Radar Online. First of all, Kris proposed in the middle of the day, and he had to do that because it would create better lighting to capture the moment. Now, Kim looked surprised but knew it was happening. She was in full hair and makeup, and she's always in on the show. But all of his ideas were shot down by production officials and Kim. Now, another person she got married to was Kanye West. They got married and had 4 children together, and they were happy until things started to go south in 2020. In July 2020, Kanye acknowledged the possibility of Kim ending their marriage, and later that month, he wrote on Twitter that he had been attempting to divorce Kim. Now, he also wrote that the Kardashian family was attempting to lock him up. In January 2021, CNN reported that the couple were discussing divorce, and a month later, Kim filed for divorce, agreeing to joint custody of their children and declining spousal support from each other. The divorce settlement was finalized in November 2022, and after they divorced, Kim dated Pete Davidson, which Kanye did not like, and he took a lot of digs at Pete and Kim. He posted online about it saying, "You are lying and are liars. Y'all basically kidnapped Chicago on her birthday so she couldn't remember her father not being there, so there. Also, I should see my children 100% of the time, but since there's a separation, it should have been 50% of the time. Y'all wouldn't have played with Donda like that in Jesus' name." Now, the Kardashians, for their part, have repeatedly denied Kanye's claims about Chicago's birthday, and after this rant, Khloe commented on Kanye's posts, begging him to please stop tearing Kimberly down, adding that she and her family have had enough of the false birthday narrative. Now, at the 2022 Met Gala, Kim arrived in the iconic Happy Birthday Mr. President Marilyn Monroe dress. Now, Kim said the idea of wearing the late actress's dress felt like the perfect representation of America. She was granted special access to wear it as it is kept in a museum, and people did not like this. They thought it was unfair and in poor taste to take the dress of an icon and have Kim wear it. Now, besides that, Kim revealed that she had to lose 16 pounds in 3 weeks in order to fit into the gown. She said, "It was such a challenge, it was like a role, I was determined to fit in it. I'd wear a sauna suit twice a day, run on the treadmill, completely cut out all sugar and all carbs, and just eat the cleanest veggies and protein. I didn't starve myself, but I was so strict." Following this, many slammed Kim for appearing to promote a toxic and dangerous mindset about body image and weight loss. She said, "To me, it was like, okay, Christian Bale can do it for a movie role and that is acceptable. It's all the same to me. I wasn't saying, hey everyone, why don't you go lose this weight in a short period of time." Now, her losing all that weight in a short period of time, though, really rubbed people the wrong way. And finally, we have Kim's short-lived feud with Chloe Grace Moretz. In July 2016, when Kim had her own celebrity feud going on with Taylor Swift, she posted her supposed proof on Snapchat of Taylor lying, and fans went crazy. This annoyed Chloe Grace Moretz, though, who tweeted, "Everyone in the industry needs to get their heads out of a hole and look around and realize what's actually happening in the real world. Stop wasting your voice on something so petulant and unimportant." Minutes later, jumping to her big sister's defense, Khloe Kardashian responded with a collage of pictures. Now, the first picture was of Chloe Grace at the beach, and the next photo was a photo of an unknown blonde-haired woman who she presumably thought was Chloe in the sea, suffering an embarrassing and revealing bikini mishap. Now, Khloe Kardashian captioned the image, "Is this the hole you're referring to?" at Chloe G. Moretz, and Khloe straight away tweeted back, Fact check, first photo is me filming my movie Neighbors 2, the second photo is some girl who was wrongly photographed. But this feud didn't end there though. In 2016, Kim turned heads for sharing a full frontal nude selfie with only black bars to protect her modesty on Twitter. She captioned the photo with, "When you're like, I have nothing to wear, LOL." Then, out of nowhere, Khloe responded to the picture by commenting, "I truly hope you realize how important setting goals are for young women, teaching them we have so much more to offer than just our bodies." Now, Kim didn't take this lying down and replied back, "Let's all welcome @Khloe G. Moretz to Twitter since no one knows who she is. Your nylon cover is cute, boo."
Starting off strong, we have Adam Levine, who allegedly cheated on his pregnant wife of 8 years, Bahati Prinsloo, with Instagram model Summer Stroh. Summer claimed in a since-deleted TikTok that she had a quote affair with Adam, who currently shares 2 kids with Bahati that lasted about 1 year. She said in the September video, "At the time, I was young, I was naive, and I mean, quite frankly, I feel exploited. I wasn't in the scene like I am now, so I was definitely very easily manipulated." And Summer went on to share a series of screenshots that seemingly showed Adam making some quite bizarre remarks about her body. In one of the images, the Maroon 5 frontman appeared to ask if he could use the model's name for his new baby with Bahati. Some of the texts Adam sent his secret lover include, "Holy F, holy effing F, that body of yours is absurd. How are you such an hourglass?" Needless to say, the entire ordeal took the internet by storm, with Adam's alleged texts in particular becoming something of a meme, and more women wound up making similar allegations about the singer's infidelity. And while Adam later denied cheating on Bahati in a statement addressing the scandal, he did admit that he'd quote crossed the line. Next up, we have the YouTuber scandal that's shocked the world. Ned Fulmer from popular YouTube channel The Try Guys. Ned, who got married to Ariel Fulmer in 2012, admitted to engaging in consensual workplace relationships after photos on Reddit appeared to show him kissing a colleague, Alex Herring, in a bar. Ned shares 2 children with Ariel and famously built his whole brand around his love and devotion to his family, becoming one of the internet's most prominent good guys. "Family should have always been my priority, but I lost focus and had a consensual workplace relationship," Ned said in a written statement. "I'm sorry for any pain that my actions have caused to the guys and to the fans, but most of all to Ariel. The only thing that matters right now is my marriage and my children, and that's where I'm going to focus my attention." The rest of the Try Guys, Keith, Zach, and Eugene, confirmed that Ned was no longer working with them as a result of the scandal. "We do not see a path forward together," they shared. "We thank you for your support as we navigate this change." Next up, we have Tristan Thompson and Khloe Kardashian. Tristan Thompson made headlines twice for cheating on Khloe Kardashian, whom he began dating in 2016 over the course of their relationship. The Cleveland Cavaliers player was spotted cozying up to 2 women in April 2018, while Kardashian was pregnant with their daughter True. Later that month, Us Weekly confirmed that Thompson had been unfaithful to the reality star since November 2017 with at least 5 different women. However, Thompson was present for their daughter's birth, which was documented on season 15 of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Us Weekly broke the news in May 2018 that the duo were quote fully back together despite Thompson's infidelity. The Revenge Body host defended her decision to reunite with the NBA star in November 2018. "His mistake was obviously humiliating and heartbreaking, but I do believe I am strong enough to endure anything," she tweeted at the time. "I choose to find a life lesson in every situation, even the nasty ones. Tristan has grown from this, but most importantly, he's a beautiful father to our sweet baby True." The athlete and Kardashian split for a second time when he was seen kissing Kylie Jenner's then best friend Jordan Woods at a party in 2019. Next up, we have Kristen Stewart, who cheated on Robert Pattinson with one of her directors, Rupert Sanders. "I'm deeply sorry for the hurt and embarrassment I've caused to those close to me and everybody this has affected," she said at the time. This momentary indiscretion has jeopardized the most important thing in my life, the person I love and respect the most, Rob. I love him, I'm so sorry." Sanders, for his part, publicly apologized to his then wife, Liberty Ross, and their 2 children, Skyla and Tennyson. "I am utterly distraught about the pain I have caused my family,
the English director said in a statement. "My beautiful wife and heavenly children are all I have in this world. I love them with all my heart. I'm praying that we can get through this together." Both couples called it quits after the news broke. Next up, we have Shakira and Gerard Piqué. Piqué was having an affair with a 22-year-old girl while in a relationship with Shakira. Shakira and Piqué, a professional soccer player, were together from 2011 to 2022 and have 2 kids, though they never officially married. In her first interview about the breakup in September, Shakira told Elle, "Sometimes I just feel like this is all a bad dream and that I'm gonna wake up at some point. But no, it's real." She continued, "And what's also real is the disappointment to see something as sacred and as special as I thought was the relationship I had with my kid's father, and see that turned into something vulgarized and cheapened by the media." But by January 2023, the gloves were off. Shakira broke records when she dropped Music Session 53, which is apparently about Piqué. His new 23-year-old girlfriend, and how Shakira is worth, quote, 2 22-year-olds. Insiders Alan Dawson previously reported. Our next cheating couple is Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner. While the world is currently wrapped up in Bennifer, the other one with Jennifer Lopez, lest we forget that Ben Affleck was once in a soap operatic turn of events caught cheating on Jennifer Garner, the mother of his children and wife of 10 years. He cheated on Jennifer Garner with, guess this, the nanny. The couple divorced in 2018, and after marrying him last year, Jennifer Lopez went on saying that, "Honestly, I would simply walk out if she discovered he'd been unfaithful instead of, quote, flying into a rage." Next up, we have Jude Law and Sienna Miller. The pair were a picture-perfect Hollywood couple. The couple had been engaged for 8 months when Jude Law's kid's nanny, Daisy Wright, claimed that the two had been involved in an affair while he was filming a movie in New Orleans. Law then published an apology to Miller in the British Press Association, saying, "There is no defense for my actions, which I sincerely regret, and I ask that you respect our privacy at this very difficult time." Miller and Law were on and off for the next few years, breaking up for good in 2011. "That was one of the most challenging moments I hope I'll never have to experience again," she told the Daily Beast in 2022. The next celeb may come as a bit of a shock. We have David Letterman. David Letterman had only been married to his wife for 6 months, although they had been together for over 20 years, when he admitted to having multiple affairs with women who worked for him on air, including his longtime assistant Stephanie Burkett. The affair came to light when Stephanie's boyfriend Robert Halderman, a producer at CBS, allegedly tried to extort Letterman for $2 million in exchange for his silence. But David did not take up the offer and instead said this on live television. "This morning I did something I've never done in my life. I had to go downtown and testify before a grand jury." Letterman revealed to the studio audience that he received a package 3 weeks ago containing a threat to reveal those indiscretions. If Letterman did not pay the individual a large sum of money, specified as $2 million, he said that the package contained a letter that said, "I know that you do some terrible, terrible things, and I can prove that you do those terrible things." And sure enough, what was contained in the package was proof that I do terrible, terrible things, he said. Our next celeb couple is Kevin Hart and Eniko Parrish. Kevin Hart's infidelity story is honestly a little similar to Letterman's, as he was also being extorted. After denying any wrongdoing, he took to Instagram in 2017 to apologize to his wife Eniko Parrish and his kids. It was then later revealed that somebody was in possession of an explicit video of Hart and was attempting to receive money from him. Hart and Parrish stayed together, and he spoke about it on a podcast in 2020. Our final celebrity couple involves Arnold Schwarzenegger. When Arnold Schwarzenegger and Maria Shriver announced their separation in 2011 after 25 years of marriage, it was a shock to everybody. The bigger shock, however, came later when the world found out that Schwarzenegger was the father of a son born in 1997, mothered by the couple's housekeeper at the time. It's always the housekeeper. Remember, it's not like we had a feud, he explained to People magazine in an interview. We didn't have a fight. He added, "It's just my F up. My chapter with Maria will continue on forever," he told People. "Even though it's a different relationship and we are now separated, there's no reason for me to feel anything other than love for Maria."
Number 10. Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan was in the news for a lot of reasons in the early 2010s, whether it was her mental breakdown or her party escapades. The paparazzi was right there ready to capture every little moment on camera. One night, Lindsay was in a van when it collided with a member of the paparazzi, smashing into the side door. The driver of the car was rushed to the hospital and an investigation took place, but it was ultimately revealed that the only person who was actually at fault was the driver of Lindsay's van. She's famous. Did you actually think that she drove her own vehicles? Despite the paparazzi clearly attempting to photograph Lohan at the time of the crash, like they're the reason it happened, the incident was chalked up to, "Look where you're going next time." I don't know, the driver of the van, Raymond Ortega, claims that Lindsay didn't even check to make sure that he was okay when he crashed into that car. Hey man, she was just a bit too focused on the man she just hit. Number 9. Kanye West. Kanye may claim to love the paparazzi, but his track record has shown anything but that. In 2013, well before Mr. Yeet canceled himself on Twitter, he was involved in an investigation set in place by the LAPD after it was reported by a paparazzo that Kanye had struck him and a fellow troll, paparazzi, one night at LAX. When Kanye got off a plane, he was being photographed by numerous photographers. So many people were surrounding him. One man named Daniel Ramos was particularly close to Kanye, and he did not appreciate Dan getting in his personal space. A video shows Kanye rushing at Ramos and attempting to grab his camera. Ultimately, the LAPD decided not to press any charges, but the case was referred to a city attorney who filed misdemeanor charges against the rapper. This wasn't the first time that this type of thing had happened to Mr. Yee. In 2008, he was involved in a similar confrontation with another paparazzo. The rapper smashed his camera and was subsequently arrested on charges of felony, and on top of a few smaller charges that forced him to serve 50 hours of community service. Number 8. Britney Spears. As many know, Britney began a downward spiral health-wise in 2007. After her divorce from Kevin Federline, she not only shaved her head, but she went on a rage-fueled rampage across the city, taking down anyone in her path like Godzilla or something. After being swarmed by photographers at a gas station in LA, she went on a rampage, wielding an umbrella and swinging it at them over and over and even hitting one of their cars, smashing the window. She also hurled expletives at anyone and everyone who had a camera, eventually launching her umbrella towards the crowd. This was the main incident that landed her in a psychiatric hold, but the paparazzi captured every single moment of it on camera, so the only thing the world saw of her for a bit was this mess. Let's hope she's doing better now. Number 7. Hugh Grant. When people see Hugh Grant, they think rom-com sweetheart, the bad guy from Dungeons and Dragons, or soon it's gonna be Oompa Loompa. That's just a creepy image. Just don't watch that trailer. But anybody with the news in 2008 remembers him as a bean waster. A paparazzo named Ian Whitaker was following Hugh around his neighborhood trying to snap as many quality pics as possible. Grant noticed him and walked over to ask him to leave. I'm just kidding, he walked over and started kicking the heck out of him. 3 times to be more specific, before he literally kneed him in the groin. He then picked up and opened a family-sized can of baked beans and just chucked it at Ian like he was launching a nade into the battlefield. He then stood over the photographer like a freaking Bond villain and he asked him, "Do you have any children?" And when he said yes, Grant said something that I'm not allowed to say on the internet. It was just that messed up. He's scary. Police were eventually called to his home where he was arrested and charged with, well, he physically kneed a guy. So it was in the most sensitive area ever. If anything, they should have taken him to jail forever. That hurts so much. Number 6, Will Smith. That's right, Will Smith is on this list for slapping someone, but it's not Chris Rock. I just figured we all know about that one. Hey, it's why he was canceled. What are we talking about today? Oh yeah, an incident on the red carpet that left one paparazzo with a big red mark on his face. Will was walking the red carpet at his Men in Black 3 premiere, giving people interviews when a Ukrainian comedian named Vitaly Sejik approached him. A man who is unfortunately famous for being an absolutely disgusting person towards celebrities. He pretended to be a reporter and he began interviewing Will Smith. He suddenly pulled himself towards Smith and he tried to kiss him on the cheek in his mouth, and Will obviously shoved him back and gave him a little, "Hey bud, Just a little backhand to the face, nothing major, and then he was gone. A team of security following Mr. Smith picked this guy up and carried him away like the little toddler that he was. Who knew Will was practicing for his Oscar slap all the way back then? Number 5. Justin Bieber. Justin is no stranger to the paparazzi. They basically filmed every terrible moment of his adolescence so that he can just go online, Google himself, and cry whenever he wants. Back in 2013, the Biebs was on tour in London when the paparazzi caught wind of his location. They followed him around the city everywhere he went. One day, Justin was trying to get into his SUV when a paparazzo yelled something at him. Probably something gross and rude. Honestly, the video I watched was a little muffled, so who knows? You know how the paparazzi are though. Bieber was about to close the door shut, but he opened it back up and he took a swing and said, "Hey, what'd you say, man? What'd you say? I'll beat the F out of you." And he looked like a child doing it. It's not a great move, but it was understandable as the camera person clearly made contact with Justin before spouting whatever nonsense they were spouting. The photographer tried to press charges, but the cops were just kind of like, excuse me, mate, that's Justin Bieber. What's the point? Unfortunately for the Biebs, memes were becoming very popular in the early 2010s. Thousands of Photoshop pictures were spread across the internet, and Justin cemented himself as a paparazzi go-to, because they were like, he's easy to gaslight, let's do it. Number 4. Sean Penn. This is an older entry, but it's still worth talking about because it's kind of neat. Shortly before his marriage to Madonna in 1985, Sean Penn noticed a helicopter hovering around his Malibu beach home. Once he realized that it was filled with paparazzi trying to snap pictures of him, Sean took matters into his own hands. He walked down to the beach and carved a message out in 20-foot letters that said, "Forget you." Remember that song? Nah, I'm just kidding. It said, "Fuck you." If that wasn't enough of a message for them, he decided to double down by grabbing his personal safety bang bang and fired it into the air. According to guests at their home at the time, Sean came back and said, "I would be very excited to see one of those choppers crash and burn." This guy sounds like a James Bond bad guy. Seriously, he could team up with the other dude. "I would very much enjoy watching you burn, Mr. Bond." This wasn't the first or last time that Sean would get a little bit extreme with the paparazzi. At least those guys were in a helicopter. In 2008, Sean reportedly kicked and punched a paparazzo who was trying to snap pictures outside of a hotel that he was staying at in Beverly Hills. Apparently, the guy went through his trash to get the information on where he was, so got what he deserved. People blasted Sean for being physical, but come on, if someone popped up at your house after finding your information in a trash can, wouldn't you want to kick them too? Number 3. Tobey Maguire. Ever since he first squeezed his face into our lives in the original live-action Spider-Man franchise, Tobey has been seen as a quiet man who gives off a calm uncle vibe. As such, he's been casted in many roles following Spider-Man that leaned into that tendency. You know, Nick Carraway in the film Great Gatsby, and well, that's about the best example I've got. However, as the years went on and paparazzi began swarming Tobey at every opportunity, he's been pegged as an angry man who just hates having his picture being taken. In one video that has since gone viral, Tobey is swarmed by the paparazzi while trying to drive out of a parking lot in LA. He yells at the paparazzi to move after he had politely asked them to, accidentally slamming a door into a cameraman in frustration. Since then, anyone with a camera is seen as a threat to Tobey, so much so that he will either give you the most horrifying glare of your life if he sees you taking a picture of him, or he'll just straight up take your camera away. Like, how mean can you be just to snap someone's phone out of their hand? If you did it with a web though, that would be a different story. Number 2. Nicole Kidman. Nicole Kidman is a wonderful actor, but apparently she does not make a good caution cone. In 2013, she was trying to enter the Carlyle Hotel in Manhattan after returning home from a Calvin Klein show at New York Fashion Week. You know, just your average Tuesday. Suddenly, a notorious paparazzo crashed into Nicole going full speed on his bicycle. In the video, it looks like he tries to make a half-hearted attempt to stop himself, but like, get off the sidewalk, dude! It's not called the side bike! I'm sorry, if I write it, I have to read it. Freelance photographer Carl Wu was lucky this time. Despite knocking her to the ground and her threatening to press charges, the police decided not to arrest him and instead issued a ticket for riding his bike on the sidewalk. They said an accident's an accident, but this dude was literally holding a massive camera and trying to take pictures of Nicole while he was riding a bike. If I jog into someone I was staring down while holding a battle axe, is that an accident or just a clever way to get revenge on the guy who cut me off at No Frills? It was my turn! Nicole walked away with no injuries, and it was revealed that this was not Carl's first interaction with celebrities in such an outlandish way. He ran into Lady Gaga at an awards show the year before, behaving inappropriately to say the least. A Tumblr page was made for Carl called FU Carl Wu, and there is a word that you haven't heard in a bit. tumbler. In 2023, that's the name of those fancy adult sippy cups. And at number 1, Leonardo DiCaprio. Capping off our list is the Wolf of Wall Street himself, Mr. Leonardo DiCaprio. Leo's had a few run-ins with paparazzi over the years. In fact, in 2014, he fell victim to that Ukrainian prankster that tried to kiss Will Smith. Only this time, the guy decided to snuggle up to Leo's nether regions. But he actually handled that situation pretty well. He laughed it off, and I swear he's mouthing the words, "I love this guy." Well, that guy got tossed out like a napkin, and it's not why he's on this list. The year before, Leo was on his way to meet up with his Wolf of Wall Street co-star Jonah Hill for lunch, when he decided to pull a little pranky poo on Jonah. He ran up to him with his phone, screaming like a crazy fan, and it only took Jonah 2 seconds to realize what was going on, but according to him, his Wolf of Wall Street buddy basically gave him a heart attack. He was beyond scared. When the news found out that tiny piece of information that Jonah was a little scared, the paparazzi blew it up into Leo almost takes out Jonah Hill. There was way too much of a scandal caused from what was just a light-hearted, fun moment between friends.
Coming number 10, we have Adam Levine and Behati Prinsloo. Adam Levine started to make headlines when an Instagram model named Sumner Stroff claimed they had an affair shortly after he announced his wife's 3rd pregnancy. Adam, for his part, tried to deny the cheating accusations in a social media statement when he said, "I used poor judgment in speaking with any other woman than my wife in any kind of flirtatious manner." The Maroon 5 band member wrote via Instagram story in September 2022, "I did not have an affair. Nevertheless, I crossed the line during a regrettable period of my life. In certain instances, it became inappropriate. I have addressed that and have taken proactive steps to remedy this with my family." Sumner, who clearly didn't like the Maroon 5 frontman's answer, then came for the singer again when she came out to claim that not only did they have a consensual relationship, but Adam also tried to name his unborn child after her and asked her if she was okay with that. Adam would then add, "My wife and family is all I care about in this world. To be this naive and stupid enough to risk the only thing that truly matters to me was a great mistake I could ever make. I will never make it again." While Prinsloo did not respond to her husband's statement, Sumner would make one final jab at Adam when she took to her Instagram to throw some more shade and urge someone to give him a dictionary. Number 9. Kevin Hart in Anoka Parish. During an interview in 2017 with 105.1 FM's The Breakfast Club, Kevin Hart would admit to cheating on his then pregnant wife during a trip to Las Vegas. In the interview after the confession, Kevin Hart would say, "I'm hoping that she has the heart to where she can forgive me and understand that this is not going to be a reoccurring thing and allow me to recover from my effing mistake." Kevin would then reveal that his wife, whom he shares his son Kenzo with, was expecting a baby girl in 2020 with him and held him accountable for his actions. He would then say, "She came to an amazing conclusion of, I like the fact that we have a family, that we have a household, and I like the fact we now have got a job to do better. That's what you owe me. You owe me to get better." Kevin then explained on the School of Greatness podcast in 2020 that it was her understanding that they didn't need to let the world affect their inside that saved their relationship, and he even credited his wife for setting that tone. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming number 8, we have Cardi B and Offset. Back in 2017, Migos member Offset would come under fire for multiple allegations of infidelity after he appeared to be caught in bed with other women in videos that surfaced online. Cardi B would then respond to the rumors about the relationships on her Twitter, telling fans that this stuff happens to everyone. A source then would later reveal exclusively to us and said that she had zero intention on leaving her fiance. Then, in June of 2018, news broke that the two had secretly got married in Atlanta back in September 2017. In the following month, the duo would then welcome their first child. Cardi would then reveal in an Instagram video in December of 2018 that she and Offset had called it quits after more than a year of marriage. In that same month, Offset former fling, who he allegedly hooked up with in June of 2018, apologized for her part in the pair's drama. Offset later publicly apologized to his estranged wife twice before the two reconciled and hit the Grammys red carpet together in February of 2019. Number 7, Beyonce and Jay-Z. Back in 2017, Jay-Z would finally admit to the rumors of his infidelity and that they were true, after he made a series of thinly veiled apologies to his wife, Beyonce, on his album that came after Beyonce released her own album, Lemonade, which took on the empowerment and revenge when she exposed her husband and said that he cheated on her with someone she referred to as Becky with the good hair. And to this day, we're all still wondering who Becky really is. Jay-Z, however, would finally spill everything out in an interview with the New York Times, and it would be the first time Jay-Z would admit that he actually had been unfaithful when it came to his relationship with Beyonce. In the interview, Jay-Z would say, "You have to survive, so you go into survival mode, and when you go into survival mode, what happens? You shut down all emotions. So even with women, you gotta shut down emotionally so you can't connect. In my case, it's deep." And then all the things happen from there, like infidelity. Now, he wouldn't elaborate on the identity of Becky, but Beyonce and Jay-Z were able to work together on their relationship, and they're still together to this day. Number 6, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. Back in April of 2022, Jada Pinkett Smith would admit that she was having an affair with singer August while she was married to Will Smith. The actress revealed that 5.5 years ago, her marriage was going through a rough patch and she was separated from Will with the intention to get a divorce. She then had a relationship with August. During her conversation with her husband Will on her Facebook series, Red Table Talk, Jada would explain, "I started a friendship with August and we actually became really, really good friends." She would then add that she wanted to help the musician with his mental state and found resources to help pull him through a troubling time. The actor revealed, "I got into different kinds of entanglements with August, and in the process of that relationship, I definitely realized you can't find happiness outside yourself." She also wanted to make it clear that August was not a homewrecker, but she and Will were going through a process of healing in a much different manner as a couple. Number 5, Ned Fulmer and Ariel Fulmer. Since Ned Fulmer cheated on his wife Ariel Fulmer back in September, the scandal has pretty much took over the internet. And every month, fans are still wanting to know if the couple is actually still together. Ned, who married Ariel in 2012, definitely had a lot of fixing to do to his relationship after it started to circulate that he had cheated on Ariel with Alex Herring, who is the producer of The Try Guys, a video company founded by Ned and 3 former BuzzFeed employees. The rumors came from a Reddit thread that noted Ned was missing from 3 of the Try Guys' latest posts at the time, as well as the group's podcast. It was also noted that Ariel was missing from her podcast, You Can Sit With Us, which she hosts with the partners of the Try Guy members. Rumors then started to be speculated that the couple were caught kissing at a club in New York City, and then a photo claimed the rumors were true came out. As a result, Ned would find himself being booted from the show, but he was somehow able to save his relationship with his wife Ariel in the process. At number 4, Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade. While many of us thought that Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade were the perfect couple throughout the years, their relationship has really been put to the test, as they've been together for over 13 years, and in that time, they've weathered hectic schedules, infertility issues. In Gabrielle's 2021 memoir, You Got Anything Stronger, she would reveal that they have survived infidelity as well. In the book, she would write that in 2013, before they got married, Dwayne would cheat on her and would father another child with another woman. She would then also go on to say, "It should go without saying that we were not in a good place in our relationship at the time that the child was conceived. To say I was devastated is to pick a word on a low shelf for convenience." In an interview with People magazine in 2021, the couple also opened up about how they made things work with Dwayne, saying, "It's about learning about each other, learning what she wants for her life and for her career, for trying to support all those things," which Gabrielle replied, "We humble ourselves, listen, and we meet in the middle." Number 3, Woody Harrelson and Laura Louie. Woody and Laura's relationship started when he hired her to be his assistant back in 1987, and years after working together, they couldn't deny that they had fallen in love. Woody even wrote a song for her to express his feelings, and then he would tell The Hollywood Reporter that after he played the song, she would say, "Woody, I've been in love with you for the last 2.5 years." But what started off as a fairy tale come true would be put to the test in 2002 when Woody went home with not 1, but 3 different women, one of which turned out to be working with the paparazzi and leaked a story to a publication called News of the World. In the same Hollywood Reporter profile, Woody would open up about the challenging time and how Laura stood by his side through it all. He would even say, "Laura, this really gives you a sense of depth of her compassion. When she said to me after finding out was that it must be really hard for you to have this stuff exposed," he would then go on to note that that didn't mean that she wasn't upset, and that she gave him the standard Texan grovel before forgiving him. Number 2. Brittany Cartwright and Jax Taylor. Vanderpump Rules stars Brittany Cartwright and Jax Taylor really went through the emotional ringer after Jax met Brittany in Vegas between seasons 3 and 4. The couple was then put to the test 2 years later in 2017 when it came out that Jax had cheated with his former co-worker and co-star Faith Stowers. Talking about his infidelity in the interview with US Weekly, Jax would say, "I just kind of fell into a deep hole, and that happens out here sometimes. You get sucked into this lifestyle." Ultimately, Brittany decided to stay by his side and even accept his marriage proposal a year after the scandal happened. And then she even said, "I see him every single day making efforts, and he's completely changed. The way he treats me, the way he talks to me, the way he listens to me. Every single thing about our relationship is better." In the time since, they have left the reality show to focus on raising their son Cruz, who was born in April of 2021. And coming in at number 1 today, we have Tori Spelling and Dean McDermott. Tori and Dean first met on the set of the 2005 movie Mind Over Murder, and naturally the two had amazing chemistry. And by 2006, they would find themselves getting married. But in 2014, after 8 years of marriage, 4 kids, and a reality show, Dean would come clean about cheating on his wife on an episode of their show True Tori. In the episode, he would say, "I feel ashamed. I never felt shame before. You were at a Christmas event and I was effing around. That's disgusting." Tori has since actually been pretty open about the work they put into their marriage over the years and the ways Dean's cheating has affected their relationship. In a 2020 interview on the Woman on Top podcast, she said they were still dealing with the repercussions of his actions, but that "I can make my own money, I can be a single mom, but I actually really love him and want to work on this. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but we're going to try."
Number 10. Russell Brand. Even before the controversy surrounding Russell Brand came up this year, this dude was unwelcome at royal events, award shows, birthday parties, anything and everything public. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm sorry to be the one to inform you, Russell Brand is secretly a terrible person. The man known best as a comedian, a bringer of joy, has secretly been manipulative, aggressive, and at times violent with his ex-partners. Following the news that a documentary about his life and career was set to release on BBC Channel 4, several complaints were filed by exes alleging that Russell had mistreated them during their time together. The allegations were actually reinforced by Russell's ex-fiancée, Katy Perry. They dated for over a year and a half, and in that time, she came to learn that Russell was short-tempered, opinionated, and stubborn, qualities that make a man a terrible person. Russell's career was cancelled, and he's currently awaiting a trial. Number 9. The Oprah Maui Scandal. Oprah has been claiming to be many things since the Maui backlash has begun. A good boss, a charitable woman, and an advocate for the island of Maui. By starting this fund and donating her spare millions, she's made her mark in the public as a woman who cares so much. So much that she's asking you to give her your money as well. Isn't that nice? Well, not really. The money that she donated turned out to be taxed, so she didn't actually donate anything, and of course, the main issue that people have with Oprah is that she's a billionaire asking average everyday people for money. As I've mentioned in previous videos, Oprah would not care about Maui or its people if she didn't have a vested stake on the island. Oprah has had property in Maui for quite some time, being almost a second home to her. When the fire started raging, she started fundraising. Think about all of the things that have happened in the past few years. We all forgot about Australia being on fire in 2020, Western Canada was on fire earlier this year, some parts of Florida have been underwater and are still right now. Yet, Oprah has decided to dedicate her time and money to helping out the area where she has a vacation home. Number 8. Colleen Ballinger. Former YouTuber Colleen was accused by several of her young fans as being a creepy creepo who wanted to be their friend. Colleen is best known for her character Miranda Sings on YouTube, who became so popular that she received her own Netflix series. If you want to watch it, I'm sure you will need a VPN or something. It's probably banned in every country. She was basically messaging her fans to deliver so-called advice when she was really trying to just manipulate them into being her little minions. And not the little yellow guys with the glasses, that'd be different. There was a massive amount of proof in the pudding. Fans had screenshots of conversations, with one fan claiming that she actually sent him lingerie as a joke. Oh man, lace underwear, hilarious. Following instant backlash from the world, Colleen decided to post an apology online, which she did. While playing a ukulele. This woman is shown to be weird to everyone, and she thought it was appropriate to go online and sing about it. In response to the cringiest apology of all time, her fans resurfaced a video that really should have gotten her canceled when it first came out. A few years ago, she decided that it would be an awesome idea during one of her live shows to sing and dance to Beyonce's Single Ladies while in blackface. Yep, it is the roughest clip of Colleen. She's just barefoot on stage, wildly flailing and waving her arms, and nobody at that show is like, that's weird. Yeah, the world's great. Number 7, Jada Pinkett Smith. Cheating rumors and dating scandals have followed Jada and Will Smith throughout their entire relationship. Since day one, people have been convinced that they're in an open relationship or they were cheating on each other on and off. Well, it turns out that some of those rumors were actually true. Ahead of the release of her new book, Worthy, Jada sat down with People magazine to share some inside information. The most revealing was that herself and Will Smith have actually been separated for like 7 years. Now, of course, that's not all. Jada's actually slowly ruining this man's life and mental health. When Jada revealed the truth about her separation from Will, she claimed that by the time they reached 2016, they had become exhausted with trying to make things work. The news of their separation was like a mild shock at best, because Super Sleuth fans claim to have proof Will and Jada have been separated forever, and the proof is in the interviews. The first clip to be submitted as evidence was Will and Jada's Red Table Talk interaction, where she admitted to the entanglement with August Alsina, simultaneously admitting to a brief separation. In the conversation, she literally says that herself and Will had basically broken up, but instead of just telling us right then and there, she decided to hold on to that information for a better time. A lot of Jada fans have commented on the resurfaced clips, saying that Will looks drained, like he's clearly dealing with a ton mentally speaking. Now, I could go on and on about how terrible Jada is, but I've done lots of videos about that in the past, so go and check those out. Number 6, Justin Timberlake. One of the most discussed sections of The Woman in Me, a memoir by Britney Spears, is of course the revelation of what really happened while Britney and her Mickey Mouse Club co-star Justin Timberlake were together. After meeting JT in the clubhouse, the two sparked a romantic connection. Their connection was strong, but unfortunately Britney had to make a difficult decision in the year 2000, after she found out she was pregnant. At first, Britney was actually pretty excited about the whole thing. In her book she revealed that she had planned on starting a family with Justin at some point, just that this was going to be a little bit earlier than she expected. Well, turns out Justin was not so excited and told her that they were both too young to be starting a family, continuing to remind her that their careers would also need to be put on pause. The revelation may be part of the reason that Justin has reportedly been so nervous leading up to the book's release, and might be why he's turned his Instagram comments off. Britney revealed that if the decision had solely been left to her, that she would have gone through with the pregnancy, but she decided to go the opposite route instead. She claims to have only done it because Justin so clearly didn't want to be the dad. In the book, she said that looking back, it is one of the most agonizing things she has ever experienced in her life. Number 5. Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors is currently the man behind the purple cape of Kang the Conqueror in the MCU. Kang has been written as a very important figure in Marvel. In Ant-Man Quantumania, he was the main antagonist, only he was just acting as a variant of the real antagonist, which was an army of Kangs from across the multiverse. I know, I'm gonna get geeky for a second. Including He Who Remains, a Kang variant from Loki, who once again acted as a major part of the Loki series. Unfortunately for Majors, an ex has come forward and alleged that Jonathan was physically violent towards her while they were together. Since March of this year, Majors and his team have been adamant that the situation is blown out of proportions and that there's nothing to be upset about. In fact, in June, Majors filed his own cross-complaint accusing the accuser. Prosecutors refuted these claims and told him that they had no plans to prosecute Grace Jabari, the woman who accused him. Majors has been dropped from his agency, and so far his role on TV and film is up in the air. Spoiler alert for Loki Season 2. The series ended with Kang not really being He Who Remains anymore, and it's unclear of what's gonna actually happen. Now, there have been rumors that his role in the MCU as the big bad will be replaced by Doctor Doom, so we'll see. Sorry if you don't like nerdy stuff, that's just my little tangent. Number 4, Lizzo. Lizzo may have been a public advocate for body positivity, but as part of a lawsuit being brought against her, it seems like all the positivity might have just been an act that she was putting on to make herself more universally loved. Now, I am not a small man. In fact, I have what many people consider to be a dad bod, and hey, I'm cool with that, so I'm not dismissing the notion that we should love and respect ourselves, but like, she made it a massive part of her personality on camera, and when it sounds like the only body she actually cared about was her own. According to her dancers, Lizzo regularly shamed her team and made them feel like they were too large or gaining weight, with several dancers confirming these claims. One of the dancers, Crystal Davies, who is part of the lawsuit, was actually fired for secretly recording a meeting between herself and Lizzo. The meeting was about the dancer's performance on stage recently, and Lizzo apparently disliking the weight that she had been gaining, claiming that Crystal just wasn't committing to her role. She was also bringing her dancers to strange places and making them do things against their will. Lizzo was at a club in Amsterdam's red light district when she coerced, aka forced, one of her dancers to touch a woman's bare chest, not something that she wanted to do. She also made them eat bananas from some no-no zones that, again, not their idea of fun. Currently, it's still up in the air as to what the outcome will be in this trial, and so far Lizzo is maintaining that she has done nothing wrong and will prove her innocence any day. Number 3. Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner. Joe and Sophie got together back in 2016 after they had been set up by mutual friends, something that they had apparently been trying to do for quite some time. They got together and instantly fell in love, getting married just over a year after getting together. Sophie admitted to Rolling Stones in 2019 that she was hesitant at first because Joe was a big musician, she was a big TV and film star, meaning that most of the time they would be on opposite ends of the world. Eventually, she warmed up and got together with Joe officially. The split came out of nowhere. For the most part, their relationship has seemed to be stable on the outside. They were never a part of cheating scandals, which is surprising considering Joe's lack of discretion. There were never any strange rumors, photos, they were just like a happy couple. As of September 1st, Joe Jonas filed for a divorce from Sophie, with the only current information being that Joe has claimed the relationship is irretrievably broken. Something pretty serious must have gone down in a very short amount of time, because only hours before this announcement, Joe posted a photo of himself on Instagram with his ring on full display. Now, despite the minimal amount of tea spilt so far, we are in for one super messy and public divorce. Things have settled down a bit in the past few weeks, but Sophie was actually just spotted getting cozy with another dude very recently, so you can imagine who's taking things harder at this point.